Simpson. And Japan have gone absent without leave. This is Whitmore. Hall and Gale both available. It's still Whitmore. It is the Reggaeboyz who take the lead.
Ball chat. Greetings, football lovers. Welcome to Ball Chat Halftime, aka Call In Show. My name is Benton, along with the family. George, what going on, family? How you stay?
I'm good enough. Good. I'm sending this out real quick because I have to put it out there that Ball Chat Halftime is now live, and Junior is about to apologize to JFF soon.
JFF. Breaking news. Junior is about to apologize to JFF.
Yeah.
Big up, people, everyone rolling in. Big up. Thank you for joining us. Remember to smash the like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel. If you're new here and this is the content that you like, go ahead and subscribe. Tell a friend about the show. You know, in fact, all your relatives, Junior, all I pitting them over here, supposed to subscribe for Ball Chat, and likewise over my end stuff.
Yep. Even the unclaimed ones.
Hey.
Tax time.
We are not elephant man around here. All right, but let's get to it. Football family, this is a call-in show, so I'm gonna drop the Zoom ID up here. You know, welcome listeners to call in. And first topic on today's show, family. Great news, wonderful news. Well, we'll discuss whether it's wonderful or not. FIFA lift the financial restriction on the JFF regarding access to funds. It was reported by IRFM a few days ago, and there was a press conference earlier today with Simon, the head press guy for the JFF, with the JFF president, Gensek, and a FIFA representative. Junior, your thoughts on this?
It looked like it was normal news. The impression I get is that most people knew about the restrictions, or the monetary restrictions that were levied on the JFF. Maybe this will be a way that I prove that I'm not a good journalist. But I don't know. I always heard that. I sent out my last thing here, but I always heard that there was no money, but I always wondered, like, why was there no money? Where is the money going? All of them not had no money. How we see this and them that had no money, right? And that question was answered today. And it's for 5 years. It's something that they've been restricted for 5 years. Let me just, before we put it out there, because I have to make sure I say it the right way. I apologize to JFF. And I believe a lot of people that have said some stuff about JFF over the last couple of years without knowing the facts should apologize. All the complaints about not getting money for plane tickets, who don't get the right seat, why they have to get ticket the day off, all of that got answered to them. And my hats go off to the people at JFF for keeping a level head. Now, did you know? I never. Before we go any further, did you know?
Did I know there was a financial restriction?
Yes.
I know was. I know there have been regular audits. I think Camon even mentioned it on one of his Yardballers report. But
it never resonated with me though.
It never resonated. I've looked at the financial the annual audits the last time, and it read. So I tried to go and look at the audits. Now, importantly, from the press conference today, it didn't say that they were going to get, well, technically they could get access to more funds, but technically they will get the amount of money that they've always have gotten.
Allotted, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that they will now have access to it in larger sum. You know, it's just like when we used to go to school and you'd on a little stipend, your mother give you a little small change, and now you're essentially, rather than get a small change, you get the more of that money in a larger allowance or larger allocation. So I knew they were under restriction. Now, of course, it's the same administration that put them in a restriction for whatever reason. There was no discussion about why, and we don't really want to delve. I don't want to dwell on that, but I want to congratulate. Well, I don't think it's necessary to congratulate someone for doing what they're supposed to do. You know, because this is a part of the JFF responsibility is good financial governance. And this press conference really highlighted how they have improved significantly in their governance of the money in terms of procurement, in terms of software to essentially track the payments. From what I heard, like the guy, Mr. Sobajo, if I hope I'm not butchering his name, said that those are some of the things that the JFF have done in the last 5 years. You know, procurement has gotten better, to reading between the lines, and the tracking of the payments seems to have gotten better. So you and I both know that procurement is always one of the biggest things when it comes to large amount where you have to be careful with, you know, because, you know, it can easily go missing if it's not tracked properly. So.
But there's more to unpack to that in that statement that you make still, because let's call a spade, because you said it right. It's the same federation, same president, right? They all made some decisions, got caught, and they basically had FIFA so far up in them body that the second they eat something for lunch, FIFA know exactly what seasoning was put on that food. Right?
Yeah.
So they went through all of that for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We have seen Trinidad get something similar. And look what happened to Trinidad. And how Trinidad simply just fell off the map. I think I'm not celebrating them getting out of it. Like, and I agree with you that you can't, you're wrong. It's not like say take over from somebody and then they make a bag of mistake and you come in and you fix it. It's basically the same leadership. But I must commend the work that they did over the last 5 years. If you look at the last 5 years, you have to look at it through a different lens. And maybe it's shocking to me because, like I said, you followed it and I never followed it that much. I won't even lie to you. Part of it felt like some of it was lies. So I never believe it until they have a FIFA representative there talking about it and saying, yo, this is really what was going on. You have people up there that highlighted some of the things and reading between the lines. That's the reason why they got more organized.
Yeah. I mean, it's like someone, and again, I don't really want to go dwell upon it in a negative sense because I think this is monumental for Michael Ricketts' administration, and I will say the reason why in a second. But it's like you get caught managing, messing up your room, treating the room in a bad manner, and now essentially you've been micromanaged to some extent, and
right.
and we all know some of we don't like micromanagement but the reason why some of us are being micromanaged is basically because we demonstrate the lack of ability to independently function well and manage whatever we need to do. So subsequently, and this is why the press conference was called, because in a normal circumstances, I mean, this is probably a press release or something, but the fact that there were a press conference called and, the JFF and is trying to restore, or this administration is trying to repair its credibility. And I think this will go a long way in repairing its credibility, this administration credibility with the fans, but also equally important with potential investors, potential advertisers. Because if I am investing $5 or $10 or whatever the amount may be, and now here is FIFA saying, yes, we have approved or stamped your governance practice financially, then I know I feel more comfortable with saying that we can partner and collaborate and put my money into your program.
Yeah, definitely. I this is the halftime show. I could have played devil's advocate and really force you to go negative, but we're gonna leave it alone. Yeah, I agree. And now the door is open. Now they have pulled back on the curtain, or they have learned to pull back on the curtain a little bit. I think they were taught. I think somebody, FIFA, held their hands and said, here is how you run an administration. Put on the training wheels. I'm going to give you $10 out of 100. Let me see how you manage that. If you show me say you can do better with that, we'll take it off. And they've gone through that for the last 5 years. So hats off to them. Love it. Now we move forward. No, I don't. And one of the reporters asked a question, and I know what they were hinting at. The reporters, what's next, right? What does this mean for us? So what, now that you get money,
now that you get access to more of the money, how are we going to run with it?
Well, yeah, like if things were X before, things supposed to be Y now, right?
Yeah.
How that will look. So I'm going to caution everybody out there that listen to our voice and say, temper that expectation.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative statement. All that means now is that the federation now is going to be well run. We can now have more confidence in certain decisions that are made. But I don't think it means that they run up on a gold mine.
Yeah. And football family, the ball, welcome to Ball Chat, call in show. Halftime is the title of the show. We're discussing Jamaican football news. And if you're just joining us, FIFA lifted the financial restriction that was in place on the JFF for the last 5 years. And basically, the restriction didn't really prevent the funds. It prevented the time you got access to the funds, the amount that you got. That was the restriction. And also, in technicality, to follow up, to add on to it, now the lifting of the restriction allows you to have access to new funds, new resources that was not you weren't not able to access prior to the to this restriction being lifted. So I want to say, Dennis Strong, I don't agree with his style of management or some of his interactions sometimes with the media and with others, but I think Dennis Strong, in his GenSec role, seemed to have brought some semblance of good administrative practice to the Ricketts administration. And I probably go and link, and maybe this is maybe I'm stretching my boat too far, but I probably say the person who should get the credit is probably Dennis Strong here, because coming from an administrative heavy side of things, and he's probably the one who's doing, working with the accounting department and the actuaries to make sure that the numbers are in line. And so kudos to him, and kudos to Mike Ricketts and the organization. But this is important.
Definitely. And it is, I can't, we have to look and chronicle the last 5 years from a Jamaican football perspective.
We can't call him Patty Shop no more, Junior.
No, because
we have to go find the next name.
And you know what too? Big up the Jamaican women's side of the football federation, because you went to the World Cup with restrictions.
Yep. Yep.
So imagine what you will do in a well-run organization.
Yeah, with more access to more funds.
Because this is the thing. When I hear funds restriction and the FIFA guy, big him up, but a Jamaica football would deal with the FIFA guy.
Yeah.
The way he said it, he's trying to cover his bases, in my opinion. But no, you held money back for the people. If I'm supposed to get $100 for my school fee for this week, right? And it is Monday, and you give me $20. And it's Tuesday, you don't give me no money. Wednesday, you don't give me no money. Thursday, you don't give me no money. Friday, you give me $5. Saturday, you don't give me no money. Sunday, you give me $75. That $75 burned. Because I don't give a damn about that $75. We needed it for the 5 days, right? So all the money, all the tournaments, all the times when we hear people getting them play tickets and this and that and that and that, that money was held back. The plane don't fly already. Who reach, who never reach, never go. All of that don't happen already. So the pain and the burden that come from holding that money back has already been felt. You had the women team when they did their interview and come out and said, and you know, it come out now, JFF really wasn't lying. So when Bonnie them was coming out and saying, yo, we have people who don't get paid, and some women get paid, and this one don't get paid from the tournament before the World Cup, and JFF said, yo, we pay them enough, but we just can't pay it right now. The reason why they can't pay it right now because they never get their money. So one other question that should have been asked is, the World Cup money, was that restricted?
Yeah, you really could have gotten at the nuts and bolts of it, but I think one of the big thing is that with a press conference like this, you have it, but you also could open yourself to a can of worms.
Yes.
Because now the questions them are gonna ask, and you know, and the journalists them know where them bread butter. So
I'm a friend too.
You know, because at the end of the day, I mean, I understand, I respect a good journalism because you do due diligence, but you're not supposed to go for clickbait material. You know, follow the facts and report accordingly, and you know, but I mean, Ricketts and Mr. Ricketts said he was in Bangkok and he called a meeting, Junior, and to demand what are the steps or what's going on. So he's been very aggressive. So that was his big thing. So I guess no a man can't fly go anywhere again.
Again, I need timelines, Ben. I don't want to pull. Ben, I'm not trying to pull you back, but we need timelines. What if
we get to that? Big up to the JFF, to the Ricketts administration and good governance, and I will, Junior, as somebody who is a very heavy tech guy and social media and all these things. These are the things that the JFF need to put on their website. You know, these things need to be out and about immediately. This is the website that I am on right now. And U20, 2024, all these things need to be updated, brother. Come on.
All right. So you see, you're like John Stockton and I'm Carl Malone. Everybody knows.
And I'm not giving you any layup. I'm not giving it.
People, this is called a layup. Because Benta just setting me up to just say, yo, all right, Junior, feast for them. All right, look, let me just do this one thing. All right? We saw the rollout of the JFF Live.
Yes.
We saw the company that is putting it out there. We heard some of the stuff that was said.
Yeah.
And Malchat is a little fool show. I want to try to build up myself, and people hit the subscribe button, especially on YouTube. Go out and subscribe to it. But we are nowhere near the big time shows or whatever, right? But we are also professionals within our own, right? So we have common sense.
Yeah.
We can tell when something that is being rolled out is being mandated. And that JFF Live rollout was a check of a box.
Yeah.
This Simon weekly show is a check of a box. FIFA, here is how we are being transparent. FIFA, here is how we are being this with our lister. Here's how we are creating revenue stream based on this money that is being given to, right? So when you know that accurately say, okay, JFF Live is obviously trying to undercut regular media. So instead of Jamaica Gleaner, instead of Jamaica Star, instead of any shows that are out there breaking news, they now become the only source of news for Jamaica football content. You know why? Because that's just an easy brainstorming first media thought. But real media, like real trained media representatives know that you need to have a paper trail. You cannot have multiple avenues of news. Everything's supposed to be updated at the same time. If you want JFF Live to be very popular and get the $9.99 subscriptions, you make everything JFF update at the same time.
Yeah, update everything.
I show everybody how professional we are, because like you said, Benton, you can't go to the website and don't see the information. You don't see the audit information. You don't see the profile of the person. When I'll take your word for it, that brother is from FIFA. Come on, man.
And the last financial statement was 2023. Now, I mean, FIFA supposed to put out official report that is compliance, the compliance findings at some point. So we have to keep an eye on that, and it should be, because we don't know FIFA state. They might have them World Cup and they don't want nobody come dirty up them water in a certain country. So, I mean, my Regin Jack Warner still can't go take a, So, but overall, congrats to the JFF. Well, maybe for lack of a better term, is kudos, good, do your work, do the thing, and we look forward for more good news like these. Look forward to more good news like this. And quite interestingly, the procurement statement was what the FIFA guy said. I don't know if JFF did make him know, said don't divulge that information about procurement. I don't know if he make that one to slip out.
Hey, you realize couple times it gets static for the microphone. But I say, yo, static, cut him internet.
All right, so now to some news on the field. Reggaeboyz getting ready for the Vincy Heat. Steve McLaren led Reggaeboyz will take on the Vincy Heat, Ezra Henderson's Vincy Heat in CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifiers. Junior, updated news is that Casey Palmer, according to Hull City, and again JFF, this information should be smack dab on your website. Casey Palmer, according to Hull City, has withdrew from the Jamaica squad for the CONCACAF qualification against St. Vincent and Grenadines. The midfielder will continue to build up full fitness with the Tigers, having only recently returned from ankle injury. So he only recently returned from an ankle injury, so he decided to stay with Hull City to retain and regain his fitness, Junior. According to MG Sports, big up to MG Military Guna on YouTube, Demario Phillips is the one that has been called in to replace Hull City's man, Mr. Casey Palmer. Junior, your thoughts on this? And I actually don't see this on JFF Live. Maybe I should go back over there, but we need to check to make sure that, But your thoughts on the absence of Casey Palmer? Do you even have a question that if Casey Palmer has an ankle injury and is coming back from an injury, should Casey Palmer have been considered at the front end? Shouldn't have conversation occurred with Casey Palmer before you When you call squad, don't you have conversations with the people before you call them?
Define people though, because you
Are the players?
Yeah, because maybe you should have a conversation with the clubs first.
All right. So all right.
Because we don't know. We don't know.
We don't know what is what, and we don't really want to get. But the fact that he's recovering from an ankle injury, though, I mean, this is big an opportunity for Demario Phillips. But you probably is left in a tight spot because he said, "Boy, Casey Palmer step out, so me have a look for a local baller." No.
No, but I mean, I'm sure you had the alternatives.
Are you sure? When you didn't even talk to the person who is supposed to be the first line and is recovering from an injury?
But all right, so that we don't know.
At least that's what I'm interpreting here.
Yeah, because they probably spoke to Casey last week. Casey said, yes, Gaffer, I'll be ready. And then when them say, all right, official list, Hull say, yo, how you go? No, brother, you can't go. You're injured.
So you think this is a club scenario?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Either the club scenario or, because you know, sometimes you have to protect the player for the player.
Yeah, fair enough.
The player thinks that the player feel like, yo, I'll be ready. I will be ready. But have a little knock, but I'll be ready for next week. And then Tuesday reach and the pain is still there like, damn. Right? So all of that can happen. Now, if it happens again the next window, then you start ask questions like, all right. Because from this point forward, I'm calling Casey Palmer for early out as a Casey. Just like last time, you were called and you couldn't make it. Can you make it this time? And bear in mind, just like last time, you were called and couldn't make it. How you feel now, right? I big up Michael. Michael said there's a 60-day notification process for all players from clubs, countries. True, but then you have the injury, and that's them out. So yes, you have the 60-day notification process. But then if the player get injured within that 60 days, and if the club don't want the player to go, and the club look at the player and say, so Michael said JFF didn't do the due diligence period. All right, Michael, all right. But, cool. Michael, I am defending JFF today now because I apologize to JFF earlier, knowing that they come out of the financial problems. So JFF, you need to be our friends again because I'm going to take the brunt of the paid for you now. So
well, I mean, we can't ask for too much. I mean, just take the wins as you get them. You know, the FIFA financial restriction was lifted, so that's one win. So yes. It doesn't mean that you're going to get the squad or the players or the due diligence right. It's just too much. But Demario Phillips will come into the squad now.
Yes. And it's a great opportunity. I pick up Casey Palmer. But Casey, that was just some other baller, man.
And Michael says, I look, we have to talk to the agent. Just remind listeners of the squad: Shaquin Davis, Andre Blake, Jamali Waite, Richard King, Ethan Pinnock, Kyle Ming, Christopher Ainsworth, Dexter Magisa, Amari Bell, Joel Latabedier, Fitzroy Cummins. You know, same time it say Fitzroy Cummins, I want to say Fitzroy Simpson.
You're not the only one. And don't we wish?
Isaac here. By the way, welcome to the English defender.
That's him, isn't it? And Isaac.
The English defender from Everton.
Everton are Newcastle.
No, man. Isaac Hayden is the Newcastle one. Where the man must be. So you have Ethan Pinnock, Richard King, Kyle Ming, Christopher Ainsworth, Dexter Lambagisa, Joel Latabedier. There's a player that we called recently, first Englishman from Everton.
You sure
was of Everton? His name,
Isaac,
I'm seeing his face and his name is slipping me. I'm sure somebody will tell me.
You know, you're right. Is Oh my God. What gunman name again? Mason.
Mason Holgate.
Mason Holgate, yes.
Hey,
Mason
wait.
Holgate.
He did that bad that we also forget him.
Yes, he did.
Adel Pistoliero say he used to play for Everton. This is true. Mason Holgate. What happened to Mason Holgate?
He won the gate.
Isaac Hayden, Joshua Anglin, Bobby Reed, Suble Makala. Can anybody tell me what's going on with Mason Holgate family? El Pistolero say he received a red card. Yes. Yes. In his last game, he received a red card. Yes. No. Yo, I can't tell. The Jamaican games they just go from one game and then forget it, Yes.
But Michael said it's on the match day report, guys. Plus the interview with the gaffer. He didn't mention that oddly. He didn't mention that oddly that the player played well on his inclusion in the game. Go look. Benton.
Hey,
Benton, is the match day report on JFF website?
It's not. We have to go CONCACAF. CONCACAF website.
You got Michael, yeah, I'll pre it, Michael.
Yeah, we have to go CONCACAF. Isaac Hayden, Joshua Anglin, Bobby Reed, Sule McCall, Demario Phillips replaced Casey Palmer, Tyreek McGee, Leon Bailey, Damari Gray, Shamar Nicholson, Kaim Dixon, Ronaldo Cephas, and Warner Brown. Definitely happy for the local ballers them. And equally more importantly, two players I am keeping an eye closely on. Joshua Anglin, I want Joshua to start and I want him to get as many minutes as possible. And Tyreek McGee. If Tyreek McGee cannot dominate, you know what? Let me not say dominate. If Tyreek McGee cannot show out, show his excellent self against St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Big up Ezra Henderson, the Vincy Heat head coach. Then I am not sure that Tyreek McGee is the solution that the Tyreek McGee fans are calling for.
Tyreek McGee, I think that request is 12 months too late. Tyreek McGee playing in the USL consistently, yes. Tyreek McGee displaced and trying to find himself. I think that's a little bit too hard of an expectation.
To play well in a football game is too hard of an expectation.
Because you need
supposed to be, I'm not saying inferior competition, but a competition that you should, I don't want to use the word inferior, but you should beat with some level of dominance.
But that is assuming that every player is fit and ready to go.
He's playing in the Premier League. The Jamaican Premier League, that is, so I'm not fit. I'm not roll out a week time for Phoenix United.
For looking at Veer's record, I think you might be right. He might be fit enough because Tyreek McGee must be doing more running than he normally does playing for Veer right now because them just get them penny pop one all about the place. So
I see what you're trying to do, Junior. I see what you're trying.
For that joke aside, though, if we are going to say St. Vincent, and big up to St. Vincent, but it is what it is. If we're going to say St. Vincent is inferior competition,
and let's probably don't use the word inferior.
They are inferior competition.
Let's bring another word. Just based on the head-to-head.
They are
Jamaica
behind.
dominated the matchup. There we go.
They are behind Jamaica in development.
Very beautiful country, though.
Benton, I expect Jamaica to play in World Cup next year. Do you expect St. Vincent to play in World Cup next year?
I don't think St. Vincent expects themselves to play in the World Cup next year.
So how are we going to talk about them like they're equal competition? They're not. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Fair enough.
But with that being said, asking a JPL player to go out there and dominate a fellow Caribbean team might be a little bit too much. I don't care about the talent. I'm looking at recent playing time. Now, the youth is a baller. But he needs to first regain his USL self. And then we talk about dominated St. Vincent. And maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it in the first 20 minutes. And then you'll see the JPL legs start kicking after that. We'll see.
Weird. So just going through the recent matches between these two teams, looking at the head-to-head courtesy of Flash Score. March 6, 2008, Jamaica defeats St. Vincent Grenadines 5-1. September 29, 2006, St. Vincent Grenadines defeated Jamaica 2-1.
Look on the lineups though. I guarantee some makeshift joke lineup. This, at least one thing I'll give McLaren, at least he's taking these games somewhat serious.
And big up to the family down in St. Vincent, because we have a support base down in St. Vincent. Big up to Desmond, Morris, and in fact we're supposed to have Ezra Hendrickson on the show. We just not reach out yet. So I mean, but pound for pound, Jamaica is overwhelming favorite in this football game.
Yes, and they should approach it that way and play that way. That's my expectation.
Yeah. First game is on Friday. The first leg is Friday in Arnersville. Are you calling a clean sweep, or what are you looking for in Friday's game? In both legs?
It better be. You can't have such a strong team. For one, clean sheet. Two, I need to see some semblance of a playing style. Three, I need to see constant barrage at the goal. For years, we haven't seen a Jamaica team play that give us a constant goal threat. It's always some droughts, and then you have a breakaway off a corner, or a buck up bad pass, or a counter attack, or something that for us to have the expectations of making it to the World Cup, we have to be able to go to places like St. Vincent and stamp our class. That don't mean so we're going to beat them 6-7 I'm not saying that. But at least make us sit down during the watch along and start pointing out players and saying, yo, that player right there, so he's showing that he can go to Honduras and play in a World Cup qualifiers. That player right there, so he's showing that we can call on him if X-Man get injured and play in a home game against El Salvador or whoever in a World Cup qualifier. That's what I expect Friday. I don't expect to sit down and be like, why Benton, St. Vincent, I give it stress on Benton. I don't expect to have that conversation Friday night.
Going into this football game, would you start Warner Brown, the leading goal scorer in the JPL? Two legs. Give him one of these games to show something. You have Shamar Nicholson. We know Mikel Antonio won't be playing any ball anytime soon, and what level if he returns to playing football. So you have to kind of start peel the orange, essentially peel the layers in terms of who do you have in the ranks to really kind of shore up your squad. If you cannot start a player like Warner Brown, your leading goal scorer in the JPL against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, somebody who pound for pound you're supposed to be a huge favorite against in one of these legs, then when do you start him?
Why start him in the away game? Why not give him minutes if the game is comfortable and he gets more minutes at home?
Give him minutes when the game is comfortable. St. Vincent. And again, I want to highlight, the important thing is that if, based on your assessment, Reggaeboyz there's a gulf between these two teams, and the Reggaeboyz should win this. And I think we can agree on that. Ball round. So with that being said, you have a player who's leading the league in goals with 17. You have one striker who, sadly and unfortunately, was in an accident, so he won't be available anytime soon. Why not start, give the next iteration, next generation of young players their opportunity to kind of say, yo, next man up sort of deal? Because once you go to World Cup qualifiers, you really want to have some significant experience under his belt if you're gonna be relying on him.
So you would start. I'm not saying you shouldn't play him, but you would start him.
I start him in one of these games. One of them.
Yeah, the home game, the second game, the home game, assuming that the first leg you're comfortably ahead.
Well, I mean, I think some ballers probably don't like play for Arnersville Park. I recall, if certain ballers don't want to play for Arnersville Park, some ballers will. And so with that being said, I mean, give the young man an opportunity. And valuable minutes, not just 30 minutes in the second half or whatever. Give him a run from the start because he's going to have to develop a relationship with the group.
True. Michael said, guess you didn't see St. Vincent versus El Salvador. No sweep is in this match. Sorry to say. Well, Michael, I don't say El Salvador is equal either. But El Pistolero, so we can't complain about not having enough time on the training pitch now. A lot of local players means we reach training camp on time. Warner should get some time against teams like these.
Yeah, should. I mean, if you roll out with the same usual suspects, the Damari Gray, Leon Beal is out of the world. I mean, you're supposed to see them baller there for bigger fish to fry. You have bigger games down the street. In fact, you're not supposed to call some of them money after some of them games, yeah.
No, we will. The first game, I expect full strength. I'll be shocked if he doesn't pick the best 11 out of the squad that he has right now for the first game. Okay. I'll be shocked.
Friday, 7 p.m., Reggaeboyz versus Vincy Heat. We're going to do a watch along, so join us Friday at, kicking off about 6:45. I think the game should be on Paramount Plus for those of us in the US, and the rest of the world will let you know on Friday how you can watch a football game. So Friday, 6:45, 6:50, we're going to do a watch along. And also another thing that I will do, again, just looking at depth and looking at thinking ahead. I would probably give one of these games to Jamali Waite, the goalkeeper. I mean, Andre Blake is the number one. Yes, Andre Blake is Andre Blake. I mean, we know that. But at the end of the day, you are only as good as your depth. And in the event of any sort of injuries or any sort of illness, you want to know, say, your backup have enough valuable minutes between the sticks. And Jamali Waite has been getting some minutes, but I mean, again, I St. Vincent, and based on what I hear, the gulf between these two squads you should again not require your big team to roll out against this team.
So if I'm Steve McLaren, as Michael says, remember a facts of you did say Sunday that Sunday you did say facts at the right, so you're right Sunday on Sunday FS2. But
respect, Michael.
If I am Steve McLaren, then I'll put the man and say, yo, seal it up Friday, man. Seal it up Friday. Watch I go up by 3-4 goals in that first 30 minutes. And then we'll just seal it up and tell you what, guys, we can't go a back road weekend. Gonna now play Tuesday. Get them an incentive for party time. And get them start. I know you can start your locally level or as much as them as you want on Tuesday and give and blood the players them one. Plus, this is an opportunity now, remember, which again, if you go to the JFF website, we don't see nothing about Tuesday. Jamaica, within the last week, had a fully packed national stadium for a football game. Right? The fans are energized. the fans are ready. They are primed, right? The politics within the sport is you go out there this Friday, you dominate, play some pretty football. If I am JFF, if I am Mr. Chung, I am praying to everything that will play some pretty football and will pack up somebody in the park. And people come in and say, "You're ready." I will have a messy like turnout, right?
So
That
the first
should be-
game is Friday in Arnesville, right?
Right.
So Tuesday
And
is
it-
Sabina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, have a pretty game Friday, energize the fan base, and then come out Tuesday.
Yeah, let them come enjoy themselves.
Michael said, when has Boza been clinical? His off-the-ball movements are much better in Mexico, so let's hope he is transposed. I will give him that. I will give him, looking at him playing in Mexico, I will give him that, yeah, big up Shamar, and big up Jeremy, and because big up his agent as well. Because, you know, when we talk about Shamar, you know, certain people here at Benton and certain people alike, so.
Big up to the agent. Big up to the... Down bad, but big up to Boza. Continue to do your work, family. Continue to do your work. We're glad to see... yo, see my work down in Mexico. Go on, do your thing. Go on, do your thing.
And I'll score free kick.
Yep, all I score free kick. You mentioned Backroad a while ago. I want to just make sure say some of the players are family men. And subsequently, that cannot happen. And want to know, get your thoughts on this. Jamaica's Leon Bailey will be appearing in season 2 of Married to the Game Prime Video. Julia, this is big. This is a big deal. The man turned star.
I don't care. Big up Leon Bailey and congrats, but
Leon Bailey, Gabriel Jorginho, Mark Cucurella, and Riyad Mahrez will be appearing in season 2 of Married to the Star. Premiere coming to Prime on April 8th. Me not really go watch it, but me happy for the youth.
of course, no.
Happy for
And
him.
happy for him, 100%. And I would love that because we're in a time now where players are more than just figures that run around on a field or run around on a court and catch a ball. They're also public figures. So they have to parlay it and set themselves up for when them off the field. So of course, if the man can go out there and rein in some more money that way, all hats off to him. Just make sure you play some good ball you have on the Jamaica jersey.
Speaking of Jamaica jersey, any sort of game or expectation you have for Leon into this game? I mean, this is St. Vincent. I mean, we saw he scored recently in Champions League. And, I mean, he's been playing well. I mean, Steve McLaren was asked about Leon. Of course, it seems that the usual press conference asks about Leon, and he's looking forward and he's optimistic. He thinks that Leon has been turning into form, and he's a big player. He's a big player for his club, to paraphrase the coach. This is why he gets valuable minutes under Unai, and Unai is a big coach, so he knows that he just wants that Leon who he saw at Aston Villa to translate to the Reggaeboyz.
And if there's one player, if there's one camp, there's one person in this world that wants Mason Greenwood to play for Jamaica more than me, is Leon Bailey and his camp. Because it's because JFF fix up their money thing, I'm in a good mood. So that'll be very good and nice. I think there's too much pressure on Leon Bailey. And it's not fair. I think we put too much pressure on him. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's a fair statement, right? Very fair statement. But
what do you mean by, can you elaborate on too much pressure? What kind of thing?
yeah, because he is the most recognizable Jamaican footballer right now, right? But the pressure that's levied on him to perform for Jamaica I honestly feel like him happy playing for Aston Villa. He's stressed playing for Jamaica because of the pressure that is weighed on him. And to me, some part of it is not fair. And I think his reaction to it sometimes might not be the best reaction, but it is easy for us to criticize when we are sitting in a place of comfort, while he's the one that is under the gun to say, per se, and have to answer questions like this on the fly, when all he's trying to do is do his best for Jamaica, like he's doing his best for Aston Villa, right? Too much pressure, man. Too much pressure upon the youth. So my expectation for him.
I see what you're doing, Junior, and it will work this week because you're in a good mood still, but it will work.
Michael's Bailey better get his head right and be more consistent. He has yet to play well for Jamaica. And that's the thing. So the measurement of playing well for Jamaica, I think the expectation or the requirement of playing well for Jamaica the requirement of playing well is different in Jamaica than it is for Aston Villa.
I mean,
in Aston Villa,
for Aston Villa, or has played well for Aston Villa. I mean, he's
yeah, but his requirement. What is the rubric that you're going by?
I mean, he assists and he defends. He actually defends, and of course, if you play for Unai Emery, you have to take on the responsibility on both sides of the ball.
Right.
I would expect that Steve McLaren would demand the same thing because, I mean, Steve McLaren was a big coach or is a big coach or probably might be in the same bracket as Unai, right? Just the fact that Steve probably didn't coach that many clubs, but he did coach a big club, FC 20.
He did win
coach England for a while, right?
And he won the Eredivisie, right?
The Eredivisie. So I mean, I expect that the same demands as Unai in terms of tracking back and covering.
No, it's not the same because Unai is working for a company that pays Liam Bailey. Is Jamaica paying Liam Bailey the same amount of money to play for Jamaica? No. So it's a different form of motivation. Michael said him say represent Ghetto Youth, so make Ghetto Youth feel proud. Should be easy. Them they are pressure statements, man. I'm gonna try my best to maintain that rhetoric.
And again, more reiterate the point. The same thing I say about Tyreek McGee is the same thing I say about Leon Daly, right? As well. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Again, the top of the show, ball chat, previewing, looking at this game coming down on Friday, CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifier. The gulf between these two teams, Leon Daly is supposed to excel against St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Mari Gray is another baller who has not done anything recently for the Reggaeboyz. So he could use a good game in the shirt.
Yes. I agree.
He could really use a good game in the shirt.
Let me word it this way. If you're a big baller and you want to be treated like a big baller,
you should be a big baller against St. Vincent.
Fridays when you show that you're a big baller.
Let me ask you this then. Ronaldo Cephas has been doing everything that has been asked of him in this team. He's been, except when he's not missing, he's been doing everything that asks of him. Is this an opportunity for Ronaldo Cephas to get a start? I know ask me over who.
That have to be the question because first you want to start
Walker Brown.
Now you want to start, you have Bailey and Gray where you put pressure upon. You have my boy there, Tyreek McGee. Where is Cephas going to play? Wing back?
I mean, you have two games. Games.
So second leg, I would expect Cephas to play.
You have 2 games. I mean, so, the first game you go Shamar, Damari, and Leon. Or the second game you go Leon, Damari, and Shamar. Because maybe some man want to play for them crowd the ghetto youths them. And in the first game, you just got to go the other man them. Warner, Ronaldo, and Kaim. And just say, yo, ball game. The Stars them a play for the yard crowd. You play for the foreign crowd.
Kaheem Dixon is who I want to see shine. That's who I want to see shine out of everybody. I want Kaheem Dixon to get a chance, and I want Kaheem Dixon for shine.
And again, I want to emphasize if the same scenario in these 2 games, Kaheem Dixon should get a lot of played minutes.
Yeah, they're over all the local players.
We have 180 minutes for kind of give equally. Or some star ballers, you probably don't need them to play some minutes in this ball game.
I mean, you have six quote unquote forwards, right? Let's split them half and half.
Yeah.
You play 4-3-3.
I mean, like all this, and I guess we'll see what happens. I guess the ultimate question for me is like you need Leon Bailey and DeMar Gray for them games, yeah? For these games.
You shouldn't, no.
You shouldn't. I mean, we've got big man things. I mean, again, we'll talk about the gulf between these 2 teams.
But let me ask you this. I let me make this statement. Jamaica don't need Leon Bailey or Damari Gray to play St. Vincent. But Damari Gray and Leon Bailey need St. Vincent to show Jamaica they can play.
Fair enough. But it might be a confidence booster for them. They get right moment. But if I see the game Friday night, Leon Bailey and Damari Gray plays 90 minutes Leon are playing on 90 minutes. Play 70 minutes in this football game and Jamaica lead 4-0. And then you turn around Tuesday night and you follow with the same starting 11 again.
No, that won't happen.
That is just fireborn because Kaheem Dixon, Cephas, and Warner Brown, them youth need to get a run. And again, may I say, Josh and Anglin need to get a run.
So you know what then? We don't want to belay the point, but all right, so I agree with you then. But I think Jamaica would rather see Leon Bailey and Damari Gray play at home.
Yeah, just save them money for the yard game. Make other you them. I mean, Kaheem Dixon, Warner Brown, Cephas, them money can use some hostile territory. But at St. Vincent, you probably have a whole heap of yard people there. Going hostile territory.
But if memory serves me correctly, I think that field is like a fish bowl, and the stands are way over there. So
yeah, way
if
over
memory serves me correctly.
And I think it's kind of, we'll see Friday night. Watch along Friday night.
Michael said, let's see if Cephas is learning. His final decision making is still woeful. He passes when he should shoot. Dixon is doing well in under 21s, but hasn't broken into the senior team as yet. True. That's why I want to Dixon. And big up Michael. If BM did about boy. Okay, BM is Cephas's de facto.
De facto agent.
I'm de facto agent, so why Michael, you're lucky, because if BM did about.
Big up BM, no matter wherever in the world you're there. Big up yourself. Regular listeners, by the way, remember to smash the like button, tell a friend about the show. This is Ball Chat Halftime Call-In show. Now you know call-in already, nobody call in again. Next week. We have a watch along Tuesday and we have a watch along on Friday. This Friday, 7 p.m. is the game, so we'll kick off about 6:45 on Tuesday is 8 p.m. Yeah, man, save the stars then for Tuesday. But good luck because we are a Caribbean show. We might be the #1 podcast in St. Vincent still. Because go back and check out our interviews with people from St. Vincent. So any comments you want to make about the Vincy Heat family?
Oh, me? I'm pissed off. The two followers who are from St. Vincent, no?
Yo, hey Reggaeboyz, and I don't disappoint me. Don't.
Because we'll have some stats go way up for St. Vincent.
But I think and just a little bit of info regarding St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ezra Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Hendrickson. Was the coach at Chicago in Chicago Fire in the MLS. Is a youth that's building his resume, building his CV. And I'm looking forward to see how competitive this team is because once again, I think in the Caribbean, and it's not just Caribbean on a whole, but regionally, CONCACAF, the better these teams play against each other, the better these teams become.
Yes,
the more
definitely.
competitive they are. And so when you go to World Cup, you're not just going to get butter bruise.
It's not ironic that when Jamaica made it to the World Cup, St. Vincent was, I think, would have beat St. Vincent 5-0 in the qualifying round, if memory serves me correctly.
I remember.
But, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm big up Paul Young. I think Paul Young scored about 2 that game. Or Altiman Butler. But I'm pretty sure it was St. Vincent. But it's not ironic that anytime a Caribbean team make it to the World Cup, look at the Caribbean nations and how they are playing around that time. When Trinidad make it to the World Cup, we were still baka. I try to do a thing. Haiti was making some noise at the time, right? Was it St. Vincent? Was it St. Kitts? I was trying to name the Spice Boys. St. Kitts?
St. Kitts.
St. Kitts started with...
No, Grenada is a Spice Boy.
So,
St.
which
Kitts
one?
is a Sugar Boy.
Sugar Boys. No, it's Spice Boys I'm thinking about, though. That was with Trinidad.
No, Spice Boy, I can't be Trinidad.
No, when Trinidad made it to the World Cup. I'm talking about the team, because they had the big striker who used to play for
Kenwin Jones.
No, not Trinidad. I'm talking about the other team.
Okay.
A Joel or something like that. A big, dark-skinned, bald striker. Big brother. Big striker. And maybe it's St. Vincent, you know. But know somebody. I think he might used to play for Birmingham or one of them side. But anyway, around that time, you always have Caribbean teams. That Grenada. Michael's saying Grenada. I try to remember the baller name, man. Oh my God, it's a big thing.
Yeah, man. We can't remember the baller, but we have a general idea who you are talking.
They're gonna bother me. And then they're gonna text me. They're gonna put it in a WhatsApp group later. See the baller name, yeah? It'll kill. Yeah, so but you always have Caribbean teams that are playing well. We never, ever want Jamaica to be the only best playing Caribbean team. Trinidadians don't want Trinidad to be the only best playing Caribbean team. You want the whole region to do well. So like you said, we don't even travel far for practice games, for good practice games.
Yeah, man. You help each other when the teams are do better.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the ultimate questions and one of the things that we are look forward to with Ezra and the St. Vincent team and Grenadines Vincy Heat is building because you two have a very long CV and assistant coach in the MLS, multiple different clubs, Columbus, LA Galaxy, head coach for Chicago Fire. And with his coaching pedigree or coaching CV, he probably recruited well. So any St. Vincent and Grenadines person ball around corner, he should have recruited and so because they are probably gonna build something that's gonna be more competitive. So I do expect St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be competitive. And big up to Desmond Morris. Desmond Morris, good friend with Ezra. We've had Desmond on the show. Desmond always wants to come on the show. What them call it, the touch master. He's a coach down in St. Vincent. and the Grenadines, and them might do some good work. So looking forward to this football game because it's one hand can watch the other in terms of helping the Caribbean.
Yep.
Helping the Caribbean. Speaking of Caribbean, we just give ball chat all sort of shout out in idea. Ball chat had Randy Harris on the show. We just give ball chat the credit. CFU, well, former president of Caribbean Football Union, president of Barbados Football Union. But yo, Randy Harris done big star junior. He was elected to the FIFA Council. The prestigious FIFA Council, which really kind of dictate policies and set the agenda and the platform going forward for member nations. And yo, we have to see if we can call him phone again, see if him come on ball chat.
And people, that interview is still up somewhere.
We're gonna repost it.
Yeah, but the thing is, watch that interview again because Camon did ask some hard-hitting questions, especially from the women's football side, and we spoke to him at a time when disappointment was nowhere near his preview, nowhere near his vision, right? And if it is, hats off to him. But we spoke to him at that time when he can speak bluntly from a place of power, and he outlined some of his preferences.
A man like a fire pants.
Yeah, so let's watch it.
Man say, yo, me don't know what going on as such as. There is Mr. Harris, Randy Harris. In fact, you know what, we're going to reach out to him again and see if the phone, maybe the phone number change. Maybe him have FIFA, but
even if the phone number change, hopefully the ideals doesn't change.
Yeah, man.
Because after us speaking to him in that capacity, I am confident that he has our best interest at heart.
Yeah, man. Big up to Randy Harris and down to earth. Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, the Right Honorable Mia Mottley, give a big shout out to Randy and big up because it's a monumental achievement because I think at the end of the day, for the former president of CFU to be on this council, that means that once again the Caribbean Football Union has somebody on that council who can advocate for the rest of the Caribbean. We know that Jack Warner did a bag of advocating and him can't leave him place right now. So we need somebody on that council to advocate for CFU and Caribbean football. So hopefully Randy can, So this is perfect timing because with the lifting of restrictions, financial restriction for the JFF, and with Randy, because Michael Ricketts was one of the first vice president to CFU. So we know him and Harris interact.
And he still is. And he retained the position.
Yeah, and Michael Ricketts retained the position.
Yeah.
And Michael Ricketts was quick to point out that he was probably the only one that retained unopposed.
Yeah.
But then the people around the back said, so why you never go for president, brother? Lyndon Cooper is now president of CFU. But congrats to Randy Harris as he move on to bigger things. And looking forward to Caribbean football benefiting immensely from his place at the seat, at the table, Big. Yo, we want to go on, but there's so many things to touch real quickly. Reggaegirlz is 40th ranked team in FIFA latest ranking. Junior, those two victories over Peru boosting the ranking of the Reggaegirlz as they continue to do what a lot of us wish the Reggaeboyz would do, but the Reggaegirlz are doing a good thing.
Yeah.
Because this ranking helps you to get bigger games, more games.
Yep. You
More
become
money.
more attractive. More attractive.
more attractive opponents. And as they, push forward to World Cup qualifiers, we don't know if the Reggaegirlz did not make the inaugural Women's World Cup, but by, sustaining and staying in competitive form, this is a good thing for the team.
Yeah. And being attractive is not only for games, also for players as well.
Yes.
So as players get older and move out, we can replenish them with newer UB40s.
Yeah, Reggaegirlz' highest position was 37 in 2003. So, we'll see if the Reggaegirlz can keep chatting on the road. Keep chatting on the road. In an interview this week, we don't say we did do a quick show, but Tapper Whitmore had a few things to say regarding his tenure at the JFF. He felt like he wasn't given everything he wanted or he needed to achieve the job. Junior, talk to me about that interview. Do you feel that it was not the right time for that interview?
No, it's the right time. Because with the breaking news of...
Why did that interview now? Why reflect on your stint with the Reggaeboyz 2 days ago? I mean, you've had the dentist, and in fact, you've had Paul Hall, you've had the dentist, and you have Seal It Up man, Steve McLaren, since Tapper was last in charge.
What year did Tapper, Tapper's last year coaching? There's a reason I asked that question, because when did the financial restrictions start? We know it started in 2020.
So his last year coaching was 2021. The financial restrictions started in 2020.
So he got a year of restrictions. All right. You see it? John Stockton again. He asked why do this interview, right? Why ask those questions then? Why interview him and ask those questions then? He has bigger fish to fry right now in the JPL. He has the Manning school thing coming up this weekend.
Yes.
Why ask about your time at the JFF 5 years ago? From 5 years ago. Obviously, TVJ knew that this restrictions was going to get lifted this week. And now that you said it's better, because again, you're just being John Stockton all over again. Did we hear in the press conference today any random reporter from TVJ with a question?
No.
Oh.
Junior.
Better. Like I said, Marjat is a small show of bill, but we are professionals in our own right and our own way. We see things and know things. So common sense prevail. We might be wrong, but if it look like a duck, walk like a duck, quack like a duck, but I call it foul. So some things you just put two tools together, right?
Yeah.
So TVJ right now is just preempting this release of funds going to be whatever. It won't surprise me if you hear a Paul Hall interview. It won't surprise me if you hear a Steve McLaren interview. Not Steve McLaren, you hear a dentist interview come up. It won't surprise me if you hear a Rice Simpson interview. It won't surprise me if you hear a my boy that was used to coach a women's team.
Lauren Donaldson.
Lauren Donaldson interview.
Menzie.
I even if Menzie wants to come to an interview and talk, because Menzie know pre-restrictions and he also know post-restrictions. So it just seemed like something could talk a war about.
May I ask you this? Most notably, a couple things stood out in this interview. And we're not going to really touch one of them, We just leave that because we have information behind the scenes about, blah, blah, blah. Tapper Whitmore was asked about the Panama game. That game that we picked up 3-0.
Yeah.
That notable game.
Yeah.
And this was when the Reggaeboyz had two squads, right? Two teams technically. You have one team, a local team mainly, that he took
to Mexico.
And then you have the foreign-based team, which was being managed and prepped here for Panama.
By Paul Hall.
Tapper was asked, did he name the starting 11 for that team? And he said, resoundingly, yes. He was asked, to paraphrase, he said that the players were given to him, so to speak. And he pretty much just named the squad because he wanted to name the starting 11 because to paraphrase, because he wanted to show them, say, you can't just bring some people come through and win football games. And he said he was emphatic. He did it. In fact, I think he also said it. He did it deliberately. Name those foreign players because he said you don't call Mikel Antonio to one bench. So he said no man can pick no side game. But I think I'm not putting nothing in that mouth, but it almost implied like he knew he was gonna go bad. Because
he's a professional.
Talk to me about that. Are you a bit surprised? Like you have the game of Mexico. Should you not roll out and start your best team that you think was more coherent, more cohesive, can work together, rather than just start the players that you said were given to you for lack of better terms, because you essentially want to prove a point to such and such people? If I'm reading between his statement, I can play the statement, but I don't want to play it.
We don't know what demons Whitmore was fighting at the time. And we don't know what demons were present.
In fact, let me play the statement. Let's play the statement because this really stood out to me.
So you tell me now what the sense here? You carry Mikel Antonio, them, this, that. Our players if you can represent.
When the team got hurt.
Because we come now, we're carrying one influx. Our players if you can represent the country. We never have the time for that either. So you tell me now what the sense here? You carry Mikel Antonio, them, this, that, and you put them on the bench for. Why sense of them coming here then?
You pick the team that day?
Yeah, man.
Was it to prove a point?
Most definitely.
Whitmore says throughout his time as coach, he was the one picking the team, even against Panama.
If you go beat me, you go beat me for something I do. Nobody can pick no team, give me. Nobody can pick no team, give me. And nobody can tell me who to pick. Me can. So if you go beat me for that. Me can't tell. Nobody can pick no team, give me. And nobody can tell me who to pick.
According to Whitmore, his tenure was strangled as he was undermined by a member of his staff.
Do you think that there was...
You understand? And
again,
me can hold up my head. And me give you and give people. Me can pull up a report. And put in writing. Everything put in writing.
You wanted that you didn't get?
A lot of stuff, man. And as I said before, everything was put in writing.
Are you saying that the
everything put in writing? Needed? As I said before, I go back to my email. Remember one report right now. I can pull up a report. And again, if me have something against the JFF, all them things I put out, man, I give you and give people. And guess what? Even all them things, man, a whole of a bad name me get, man. But again, I tell you, my broad. You understand? And again, me can hold up my head anywhere me go.
Things took an ugly turn when 8 UK-based players came in for the second World Cup qualifying game against Panama in 2022. According to Whitmore, that's the moment when the team got hurt.
Because we come now, we're carrying one influx of players who can represent the country. We never have the time for that either. So you tell me now what the sense here? You carry Mikel Antonio, them, this, that, and you put them on the bench for. Why sense of them coming here then?
You pick the team that day?
Yeah, man.
Was it to prove a point?
Most definitely.
Whitmore says throughout his time as coach, he was the one picking the team, even against Panama.
If you go beat me, you go beat me for something I do. Nobody can pick no team, give me. Nobody can pick no team, give me. And nobody can tell me who to pick. Me can. So if you go beat me for that. Me can tell. Nobody can pick no team, give me. And nobody can tell me who to pick.
According to Whitmore, his tenure was strangled as he was undermined by a member of his staff.
Do you think that there were people or person on the bench, part of your staff that
Yes, man.
undermined you?
Yes, yeah. Undermine, they have their objective. They have their objective. But again, when you sit on my ass.
It's a couple questions here, Junior. I make we get the good side of Tapa before. He said he picked the team against that Panama game to prove a point. And he said he didn't have the time for those players. It was too late in the journey to bring those players in. So my question is, how is it that, do you think things have changed? Why wasn't Tapa given the latitude to pick his squad? Why was he given players?
I don't think that's the right question, because you're asking the question when FIFA started to audit them and say you guys are not running this thing properly.
Ignore the audit over there, sir.
Yeah, you cannot ignore the audit.
We just found out about the audit today, brother.
Yeah, but that explains why they were being audited. And Tapa's statement to me, I don't think Tapa even wanted to play them versus Panama. But with us going to Mexico and doing so good in Mexico, we were, that's an Alvas Powell game, right?
I'm not calling my brethren.
Yeah, that's the Alvas Powell game.
That was the game when we gave up that.
The late goal in the
late
90s.
goal, yeah. I think that was the game, yeah.
So you did so well in Mexico, you came back. Now you're going to prove your point. Tapa is not mincing his words when he said, I didn't want those players. Tapa never want Mikel Antonio and those guys.
At least
those
the timing was the problem.
No, he didn't want them. He clearly said nobody will pick a side, give him. You can't force him to pick a side. So in other words, you can't force him to pick a side. Nobody can pick a side game. He didn't get what he wanted. Yeah, he didn't get to pick his players. He wanted to pick his squad. He wanted to pick a specific squad that JFF didn't want to give him.
Yeah.
It's clear as day. It's clear as day. So it basically sabotage those ballers that came in. And him tell the man who obviously the guy that was sitting on the bench and undermining him, nobody come and make a Mexico. You carry the side go Mexico. You stay and get your brethren them ready for play.
Well, we don't know if that's the man who did undermine him.
It's obvious, Benton.
No, we're not going to find that one day. No. Big up Paul Hall, wherever in the world there. It's Because I don't think Paul would undermine. He's all about the collective.
Well, they asked Tapper if that person that undermined him had an objective. And him say, yeah. What was the objective? Get
Well, he never asked if it's Paul. He just asked if were there persons or people on the staff that was undermined, and him say yes.
All right. So Benton, look at Jamaica's staff. Who else on that team other than Paul Hall can undermine him, Tapper Whitmore?
I have to go back and look at the staff, Junior.
To English baseballers that are coming in.
I would have to go back and look at the staff. But until I get evidence that is Paul, I heard no, because Paul, when he speak about Tapper, he always spoke highly about Tapper, if I remember.
That is why he had an agenda against him. That's the rule of
not Paul. I'm not buying that one. But
okay.
No, but a larger question, and we see the show comes full circle. Tapper mentioned member of his staff undermining him. Shouldn't the manager of this team, of any team for that matter, in a normal circumstances, be given the green light, the authorization to pick his or her staff? Why was Tapper giving someone that he felt like was undermining him? Or any manager for that matter?
You know my answer already, right? That's why FIFA was sitting there and auditing them.
Speaking
FIFA audit don't mean monetary audit only. They're auditing everything, processes everything, and say this not work right.
Speaking of staff members, Junior, Reggaeboyz added Paul Simpson, former England U20 manager, as the assistant manager of the Reggaeboyz. Roy Simpson, the current manager of the Reggaeboyz, current general manager of the Reggaeboyz, saying that Paul will be a huge addition to this team. So Steve McLaren now is picking his staff. That's my reading in this.
100%. You know why? Because FIFA audit says you can't have a coach and the coach can't pick his tools. Why you never hire a painter or a carpenter. You never hire a painter and say, here's the brush you're going to use. You never hire a carpenter and say, see the saw you're going to use here. They come with them tools. So this is it. This is Jamaica right now running like a decent organization. This is Jamaica now mimicking United States. They hired Pochettino, but Pochettino wasn't available. Who ran the team at the time? Was it an American planted person? It was Pochettino's second, right? So now we're heading into a place where we are going to be properly run.
Dennis Chung stressed that JFF is committed to assembling a team of top professionals to ensure that national team reaches its full potential. McLaren staff is now Trevor Sinclair, Meran Garden, and Richard Hartis, and one Mr. Paul Simpson. I know so somebody not to them would have certain things to say, but that's a whole nother show. It's a whole nother show. Tapper didn't get his staff, but this brother got. It's a whole nother show. Reggaeboyz versus St. Vincent and the Grenadines Friday night. Watch along at 6:45, 6:50 thereabout. In fact, when the stream turn on, the people that we know, we'll put an alert up. But we're definitely going to do a watch along on Friday.
Yep. So hit the subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button, Junior. I see you painting around the edges regarding this Tapper interview. Do you think that is because now Tapper is a successful manager with Mount Pleasant and has done quite well? Tapper now can sit down and reflect on his tenure as Reggaeboyz head coach.
This is his best time to do it.
Does it mean that Tapper wants to get another run with this team?
No. You just threw stone behind you, and you want to go back there? Nah.
Before we take over ourselves, family, CONCACAF Nations League semifinals coming up tomorrow. Quickly, your thoughts on these two games: USA versus Panama, 7 p.m. Mexico versus Canada at 10:30 p.m. Of course, the Reggaeboyz was supposed to win one of these against this. You know what? Panama versus USA, SoFi Stadium. Your thoughts?
Pochettino learning the hard way. Learning the hard way. You can't America come with politics.
Canada versus Mexico. Does the politics of America inject into any of these football games?
Of course, the Panama America game.
Yeah.
So if if Panama beat America, fall up with boy you want America Canal. It's Panama Canal.
Boy, and we're gonna have a larger discussion about these tournaments in America and the politics of America another day, because I suspect Canada and Mexico and the others CONCACAF members might be saying like, look, we need to to get more of this food, aka host this tournament, and don't get bullied by some people,
Well, Mexico, you kind of have a cartel problem.
Those are the views of Junior and not Barchat. Big up to all the Mexican families, fans. Big up,
Mexican families that can watch Barchat in peace and not for dodge gunshot out of the cartel them. But
and
Canada,
Mexico has a cartel problem, and USA you have a deportation problem.
A deportee.
So
and Canada have a weather problem.
You might can't feel your strong team or Yankee foreign, because ultimately we'll say I think for Canada, again, the Jesse Marsh Pitbull fight, never say die attitude. I know with Canada and the whole politics at the time, the man them want to get to this final and face America.
Yeah. No, there's a big target on Team USA. Yeah. And Mexico will want to face them too.
And Mexico will want to face them. Hey, you think you hear the puto word yet? and you think you hear that word yet? Imagine another final if Mexico play USA. Jaja.
Where would they bring that game though?
Let's see if it's already set, because the bottom line is a money business. It's SoFi Stadium, so Cali. Final there, SoFi Stadium. Yeah. So thing hear that code P word yet. If Mexico does play USA in that final. Jaja. Looking forward to these football games, and of course looking forward to the Reggaeboyz game coming up on Friday. Watch a long time. That's enough time for go my yard. Time for go my yard.
What's the 30-minute show I would do? Oh, 30 minutes.
Yeah, because it was very nice, very nice. And there were certain topics that we left off the table. We'll table them for next week halftime show. No ball chat this Sunday because we're on international break, right? So no regular Sunday show this Sunday. So we're on international break. We have watch along on Friday and then watch along on Tuesday again.
Yep.
All right.